about the fixed income. We haven't done that this week. And we know that last week we did have a Treasury bills auction. Today we have an OMO auction. MPC is next week. Earlier today, we had Mr. Wani on our Business Morning Show, and he is projecting that our inflation will drop by about 1.54%. So how does all of this tie and drive investor sentiment at the fixed income market? We have joining us for that conversation, Demola Oshuntoke. He is the team lead ALM at Access Bank. Hi, Demola. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ini. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you. Let's start from last week. We had a Treasury bond auction last week. How did that go? Oversubscribed as usual?
Yeah. As you can expect, it was a bit of the usual sentiment. What we saw, 670 billion was offered across the standard maturities, which is the 91, the 182, as well as the 364-day paper. As you mentioned, we saw that well oversubscribed, well over 3 trillion, despite the DMO offering only 670 billion. We saw the DMO stick to their guns and sell just about 670 billion, so exactly what was on offered. What we saw them maintain the rates on the short and medium term tenors. So the 91-day fixed at stopped at 18%. For the 182, it was 18.5%. And for the long end, we saw a decline to fix at 20.32%. So we can see that trend of rates declining, especially on the long end for Treasury bills.
And does that give us an idea of what to expect today during the OMO action?
Yeah, so I think as you've mentioned, for the OMO auction today, about 600 billion is going to be offered, a similar size to what was offered the previous week. And if we go by the trend that we've seen with the market, we'd be expecting this to drop, towards the back end of last year. OMO rates were about 23.98%. At the last auction, they closed at 22.50 and 22.65%. So I'm expecting to see those rates come down. Not by large margins, but just incrementally is the trend I'm expecting to see today.
Yeah, and do you think that perhaps if financial derivatives projection of a drop of 1.54% on the inflation number, if really that's confirmed by the MBS, perhaps we could see a cut by the MPC next week?
Yeah, so, we're largely expecting that, those inflation results will definitely set the tone for the direction that, the MPC decision makers are going to take in terms of, where they want to do. My perception is we're probably going to see, as you've mentioned, a slight decline, within our inflation numbers. And off the back of that, we do expect that we could possibly see our first, rate cut for some time. So that's what I'm expecting to see when that meeting takes place next week. But we patiently wait for the biggest inflation.
Patiently indeed. Can we expect that to translate to a drop in yields and then, maybe a decline in demands of these bonds?
Yeah, so what we tend to see is we do see those rates set the tone for what happens within the fixed income markets. If we go by anything of what we've seen this year, we've been seeing rates decline, especially on the long end. As I mentioned at the start of the year, Treasury bill rates were, just under 23%. Now the last one closed at 20.32%. So my expectation is we'll continue to see these rates come down, not in small bits. So we expect to see them come down just considerably. So incrementally is what I'm expecting to see. So we'll continue to see that trend of rates declining within the market.
All right, declining rates, maybe not so good for investors, but better for the government and debt servicing. Yes. Thank you so much, Demola Oshuntoke, a team lead ALM Access Bank.